Today we're going to chat about the 3 things that you can focus on in order to have better conversations when you're going on the sales call. So if you're currently generating outbound leads, know that the difference between a good lead and a not so good lead can be quite dramatic. So what the purpose of today is really to go over how you can get more and more of those good leads and conversations happening at that sales call level and weeding out those that really don't need your services at the moment. So firstly, the number one thing before we even start reaching out to people is we need to clearly define who that target audience is. So if we're to look at this, I guess I look at 3 key variables, sometimes 4. Now the 4th being geography. Where are they located? Is that a factor for your business or not? That's something you need to determine. Now the other key things you need to think about, company headcount. How many employees does that business need? Now the other way to look at company headcount is also turnover. So you would tend to agree that headcount and turnover are somewhat correlated. In fact, the ATO's definition or the guidance that they give there is for every $250,000 worth of turnover, you have 1 staff member. So based off that, if we want to target businesses that have at least $2 million turnover, we're probably going to want to target a business that has at least 8 to 10 staff. So that gives us our parameters around how we can filter a business. So if we're trying to negate those startups or those people that don't have a lot of money and we want at least a 7-figure business there, make sure that we're searching 5+ staff. Another thing that we need to be aware of or filter for is our role or title. So who is that person that's ideal to make a decision in the business? Now, typically the way I approach this is you want to go as high as practical. So for most businesses that are less than 250 staff, we're usually going to be targeting the business owner, the CEO, the managing director. Now, if it's more than that, usually it's someone else in that C-suite, CFO, COO, etc. Finally, the other filter we can put on this is industry. So obviously industries tend to behave very differently to each other. So if we can define what are those few industries that we can really focus on for our messaging and have that really targeted, then that's going to assist us as well. So once we've got that right, once we've filtered appropriately for our target market, what we now need to do is ask questions here when we've generated that interest, purely to just clarify that these are the right people. So I would use something like, so how many people are currently in the business at the moment? So if they say, oh, it's just me, and I want at least a $2 million turnover, I know that that's not the right person. So I can disqualify them purely based on headcount. And when you're screening for headcount, it's a lot less emotional for the prospect to give you an answer around that. If you ask them what their turnover is, that's where people often push back. So that's something to be aware of, is you want to frame it in that headcount way, because it's that first approach. You've only got a couple of minutes on this call, so you want to ask something that's pretty easy to just go, okay, yeah, we've got 10 staff kind of thing. So you don't want to be too in your face and asking too many questions. Now the other thing is you can ask at this point as well is, are you a key decision maker? Are you the key person that would be making a decision around X in the business? Again, this is just clarifying to make sure that they are the right role or title in that business. So we're just clarifying our filters, because when we are downloading data, getting data for these campaigns, it's not always 100% right. A lot of the platforms you'll find, you'll get 90% of it right anyway, but all these questions are designed to do is purely filter out and make sure and clarify that these filters are good. Finally, timing. Now this is something you can't filter for. So if I'm generating a lead for a marketing agency, I'll just say, so is marketing a priority for you in the next 2 to 3 months? Clarify the timing of when they can make a decision around that product or service. I don't like to ask budget questions. I don't like to ask turnover questions. Try to keep it in line with what mostly you can filter. Make sure there's interest there, make sure the timing is good, and that quality of lead that comes through to that sales call is a lot higher. Now, This is my framework for calls that you can look at. Now, to be honest, I don't use the qualification call. What a qualification call is when you're prospecting. So you're prospecting, you're generating the interest. So then you might book it through to a 15-minute qualification call. What that is designed to do is go more in depth in their need, their urgency and budget. So you're looking to disqualify people even further here before you book them through to that online Zoom call. Maybe it's even an in-person meeting, but ultimately you can add a qualification call in there just to qualify that interest and their need, urgency and budget a little bit further. And the sales call, of course, is where we're trying to sell the prospect. Now, for most businesses, if you can do this well, make sure that there's interest, make sure that the decision maker, make sure the timing is right, and clarify all of these filters on the call, then going straight to a sales call is the best way, because ultimately it's going to give you more conversations and be able to sell more people in the long run. Hope that helps. I hope that you can implement some of this in terms of the way that you're currently doing prospecting and filtering for the target market within your audience. Thank you.